How's everyone doing today? Enjoying the Lisbon sunshine? Everyone got here safe and sound? Cool. I'm Jonathan. I'm our ecosystem lead at Rarible. We're going to be chatting a little bit about PFPs, PFP culture, all things PFPs. We can just jump right in and have some intros from our panelists. Like to start?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm Fifi. So first, I'm an NFT connoisseur turned into let's say a pudgy maximalist and lover, and that has led me to lead Pudgy Europe, which is a community effort to be more present in Europe, to do things for the members of the community here too. So it's very exciting to be here and talk about this topic, which from the room here seems not to be the most exciting at the moment. Maybe because the PFP hype has gone a bit under the radar, but I think it's one of the most exciting things about NFTs. So let's talk about this.
Thank you.
I'm Nir, the only person without a PFP. Don't ask me why. I'm the founder of Creator Nations. Basically, we have these VIP Web3 events all over the world. Every time you have a big conference, as this one, we have basically a side event for founders, investors, to connect, and brands to connect. Tomorrow, I'm actually hosting the Doodles event with you, and you guys are welcome. I'm also a Pudgy holder, also a World of Women holder. So yeah, basically, I reached out to the Doodles team, and I told them this is what I do the best: global events. I love to meet people like you, and that's what brings me here.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Adelina. I'm the head of communication at World of Women. I've been at WoW for 3 years now, which is also the same length as how long I've been in Web3. And I think this is also my third NFC, so it's like the year of the free, yeah, logically. And I've been rocking my WoW for less than that, actually. I wish it was for 3 years as well. I wish I minted her, but that's another story.
It's either you mint or you get in early, and it's a lifelong PFP, right? Cool. So I guess we'd love to start with the first question. Your current PFP, how did you get into it? Why do you currently use it? What does it mean to you? Adelina, would you like to start?
Okay, well, as I was saying, so I got into space 3 years ago through WoW. I worked in tech before, and one of the co-founders of WoW asked me, hey, do you want to join us? Because we used to work together, and I was like, okay, but I don't know anything about like Web3, or you're going to have to guide me through, or like just we do a test, and if it doesn't work, just like fire me. And it went pretty well, and I like the story because it was also like representative of WoW's value of like inclusion and onboarding people and everything. So I got onboarded through WoW by working at it, and I bought like a few WoWs at the beginning, and then one day I saw this one, and I was like, I need it, and a coworker of mine actually helped me get her because I don't remember why. I had a problem with my wallet or whatever, and I really like that she also helped me get her. She's like, the reason why I picked her is because she's cool.
It's a great background.
Yeah, she has like, she's like rainbow, she's like a rare skin tone, and she looks really, yeah, I really like her style, and I feel like she has a similar vibe as myself. So not saying that I'm super cool, but just doing terrible jokes. Probably my PFP, if she was a human, would be the same.
No, I love that. I think like that's what drew me to mine, to be honest, is like one, I'm a tan guy, so I got a tan doodle, and I was looking for that rare trait early on, like month 1 or 2 of when doodles came out. And I got lucky with the rainbow hair. I missed out one that was a little more affordable at the time, so I had to pull the trigger, as a lot of us do, right?
That's so cool.
So thanks for sharing that. Nir.
You guys don't see my PFP, but I chose the clean dude. You can look me up on Twitter, Nir Koris. My name and my last name. And I was looking for something modest when Doodle started. I wanted something model, so I didn't want too many details. You know me, right?
It's a nice one.
So I chose this one, and since then I also have another doodle, like I call him Tim, like the CEO of Apple, because it looks like Tim. But yeah, I like the style. I met Burnt Toast. I mean, look what a PFP can open so many words for you. I mean, because I met lots of Berko from the community, from the Pudgies. like you meet people in real life and it open up so many doors for your career, for your job, for me, for sponsors. Like it's unbelievable. So I was mainly interested in the networking aspect, and I saw the doodles and I said, I need to work with that team. And that was my open door, you know, to them. You have to get in the community, prove yourself, and then it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, it's almost like an investment, not financial advice, but it's a different type of investment. If it's not a monetary investment, it's a way to enter these communities, country club style, right?
Yeah.
In a new wave, in a new era.
In people, invest in people.
Exactly. Fifi?
Yeah, so my story with my penguin, I guess, started with seeing penguins pop up everywhere I went, or I mean, in my circles, in the DAOs was working in, on Twitter, and I was like, okay, what is this penguin? Like, today we say the penguin is a penguin, and I believe it's really like the first contact you get with this collection is just seeing this cute penguin. The way I bought it was like browsing through the collection. At the time, there was no notion of like flow penguin or, you know, rare traits, or I didn't care, so I just bought my penguin higher than the floor, even though it's technically like a very common penguin, because it was so clean, again, like simple. Like I really like the bucket hat, which is like maybe the trait that was the most original I felt about the trait that I was seeing, really like new at the time. And yeah, turtleneck, the yellow background, everything, like it popped to me, you know, like I almost feel like the penguin chose me rather than I chose that penguin. So that's very crazy stories. And since then, it's just been getting more and more into my life. I didn't expect a simple NFT to just become my digital and maybe sometimes my life identity. Like I wanted to wear a t-shirt with it, but I don't have it. But you know, you can imagine like now I try to put my penguin everywhere, even in my, let's say, non-Web3 life, and always in a smart way to put it everywhere. So it's me. Like I am my penguin, and my penguin is me.
Love that. And I think a lot of people feel the same in the communities they're in, so it's really great to hear. So when you see someone else with a certain PFP, you all mentioned how you guys feel the connection to the communities, to the PFPs. What is it like when you see someone out there with a specific PFP in a specific community, and what do you think about that individual or that community? Open it up to anyone.
Yeah, I can start. I feel like at the same time that we want to be like happy and open to see many different communities, like to show that we share something, we tend to be a bit clinic and like have judgments about some communities, because we have seen on Twitter some people from that or this other community say bad stuff about you. So we can't like have a clean mind about it. But I would say that if it's a penguin, like, and today it's a bit hard because there are so many scammers having PFP of penguins. That's a topic we should talk about. But I just feel like, okay, I need to read and answer this person. Like I want to have a call with them, which I won't have with other communities, even though we are in the Web3 space. Maybe that's a bit weird to say, but that's the truth. So penguin first, yeah.
Nice, love that.
Yeah, I think there is like some judgments. You're gonna think that, like for example, this community, they're usually very cool. These ones are like super cute and welcoming. For WoW, for example, when if it's a guy who rocks a WoW PFP, I'm like, oh, this guy must be very comfortable with his masculinity and also like a woman ally, so that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, I think usually for me it's more like a positive judgment, like we're all in the same space anyways, so.
Nice, no, I love that. It's like there's different communities for different types of people, but at the end of the day, we all have like a common goal, I would say. That's why we're all here. So it's cool to see when communities uplift each other in those different ways. Nir?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, it opens up door to people, to relationships, which is my focus from the beginning. I wasn't about the hype and anything. And the second thing, I think that you can take your PFP to really the highest level. This is like your IP. So you can be so creative. Mm-hmm. You can create art. You can create, I don't know, videos. I also have a Clonix. So I created with the 3D community of all the creators. I'm not a creator, but I'm a people person. So I gave my assets, you know that they gave the 3D assets. If you guys don't know, Clonix from Artifact. So I gave my assets to as many creators as I could. So they made games, they made videos with my IP, basically. So again, and it opened up relationships for them to Nike, for to artifact. So when I'm at a conference like this and I meet you guys and I realize you're the person behind the PFP, I love it. So wear your PFP, take it to the highest levels.
I think that's so funny. Yesterday when we were picking up like our tags, it's like you come across the person and you're like, wait, oh, that's you? And then you just have the name tags, and then you have this natural like, oh, okay, like maybe one day these conferences will all be wearing our masks with like our PFPs, right? Exactly. So speaking of how people recognize you through NFTs, would you guys change your PFPs to something else? What would it take? What would it be to?
All right, I'll start. I don't think you can make me change my PFP. Like, I mean, I want you to try. That would be an exciting experiment. I feel like, I have several penguins, and some of them you could judge are rare or anything. I don't care. This is my PFP. I'm rocking it, and even if like everything goes bad, everybody like leaves the space, it's just the best PFP I can have, and I just love it. So I'll keep it forever. Like, mark my words.
Love that.
Or try.
No, that's great. Adelina?
Go ahead.
I did not change my PFP from the start of this whole thing. It was still my doodle, but it's a very good question, because I'm also a huge fan and want to be even a greater part of the Pudgy Penguins. And I go to the Discord and I still have my doodle PFPs. So yes, I love many other communities. Pudgy Penguin is also a part of my identity. World of Women, which I need to prove myself, and I want to organize more events with them. It's also a part of my identity. So yes, I am with Doodles from the start, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be active with you guys at Pudgies and you guys with World of Women. So.
It's funny how we are all like emotionally attached to our JPEGs and our PFP especially. Please don't hate me, but I did give it a try. I did try to change my PFP, and I felt like, I don't know, I had like an identity crisis, and it was so weird. And like, how are people gonna actually recognize me? Will they remember my name? So yeah, it felt a little weird, so I just changed back to my own original.
Nice. Yeah, it's fun to experiment. I got into the ordinals game a little, and I threw the DGen Bitcoin puppet as a PFP for like a few months, and it's definitely it's a different type of energy when you're in like these social atmospheres online, when you have a Bitcoin puppet versus a doodle, right? Versus a World Woman versus Pudgy. Speaking of ordinals, what do you guys think of like PFPs on different blockchains? Is that something you guys have experimented with? What are your general thoughts?
Personally, I haven't experimented with it, so I'm still like old school.
Yeah, I don't really like this debate about like ETH NFTs or ordinals. Like, I just feel like it should be not about the chain itself, even though each chain will have its own culture, and of course many people will identify with the chain they are on. I think the future is multi-chain, and that's what we're seeing more and more. And like, just even with layer 2s, you could think that going on a layer 2 is weird for ETH NFT, and I don't think it's the right debate. People will move where it's the simplest to go, where there are more applications, more integrations, more utility, whatever, and that's what's exciting. We should really put aside the chain debate. It's a bit, I mean, of course, for the art, it can have a debate, but for the PFPs, we're big, like building so many things, we should go past it. And you can be doing things on different chains. It has really it doesn't matter.
Nice. No, I love that. And I think we are going towards that, just a chain agnostic ecosystem. Good? Next. Okay, cool. So I like this one, especially because Nir doesn't have his PFP up here. When you see someone with an IRL photo instead of their PFP, like operating in the ecosystem, on Twitter, what have you, what are your thoughts?
You want to go ahead?
No, I was making a joke.
I respect people beyond the PFPs, and some of them choose. I mean, I wear my PFPs also. I mean, on Instagram, I do have my photo, I think. But I respect people, whatever their choices. I do see some people are doxing themselves as they put a lot of video content so people can see their real face, and they still have their PFP, but on the content side, you do see a lot of their face. So it helps recognize at conferences. Even at this conference, I think people should make an effort so people will recognize them, either if they're PFP or their face. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we have a Doodles event, and I'm just interested to meet with good people. I mean, obviously we prioritize Doodle holders. You know, the incubator is the Doodles Fund, and it gave us the funding, so we can make sure Doodles are always prioritized. But I have an interest to meet amazing people. So I want to see you guys at the party tomorrow. Without these gates.
I'll be there.
Good. You guys are invited.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, on that topic, I would say that it depends on where you are. So if it's on Twitter or Discord and you're not using your PFP NFT, to me it's really weird. I would say maybe you don't really understand the game, or you have some fear or something. Is like, I want to talk to that person to tell them, why are you not just using it as PFP, you know? Maybe there is just one click to have, and the person will really jump on board, because if they don't do it, they're going to miss a lot of the really being part of the community, what it means. So I want to encourage them to just do it. Then if it's on Instagram or even worse, LinkedIn, I will understand, of course, that you don't use it. Actually, LinkedIn banned a few people for using PFPs. That was crazy. But there is a hack. You can, for example, take a picture with a T-shirt with your PFP on it, and then you can have the best of both. So that's my answer.
I like that. I did have my doodle as my PFP on LinkedIn for a little, and I swapped it out before I got in trouble. So that was a move.
Oh, wow, I didn't know actually, but they did ban people. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm actually like, I find it a little weird, like when you're on X, on Discord, in the Web3 space, like not like on a gaming server or whatever, and then you see people who don't have their PFP, and you're like, I am confused. What do you represent? but yeah, but if someone wants to use their picture, then they do whatever they want to do. It's just me personally, when people change too often, I get super confused, and I don't manage to remember the person, because we have so much information at the same time. Like the PFP is just one simple little image that you recognize very quickly, and that gives you a lot of information, and it's super helpful in your feed or like in a chat. Yeah.
No, that's great. I think a piggyback question there is, like, when you see someone with an expensive PFP, right? Like, we've seen those guys on Twitter that are like, oh, don't talk to me unless you have a PFP that's over 100K, right? Like, do you take those opinions differently, or like, when you see a CryptoPunk post something, like, what are your guys' thoughts there, or does it even matter?
For me, from the start, I was trying to stay modest and down to earth, and when all the NFT was crazy with the Bored Ape parties, okay, so I wasn't invited. I never made a big deal of it, but I do understand that it's a status and it's an image that's like a Rolex or anything, and people were trying to leverage that. I do understand that, but for me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, no.
It's fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that at the time where a lot of PFPs went high and like to very crazy prices, penguins were not really doing so well, which makes it that the penguins who stayed around and kept their PFP and are still here today are like really genuine community members who are not judging anyone. So today we don't have this culture that we could have had if the prices had gone so crazy that we could have just lost our minds. So the people who had this kind of reaction, I guess I can't judge them, but it's not really good for the space, and it doesn't make me want to join a community. Actually, it's kind of a bad way to attract other people.
Yeah, it goes against the ethos of bringing more people in. The more battles there are, in my opinion, is not good for this space, because if you're pushing people out, we're all trying to bring more people in. So the more that we push out, it's just going to take longer for adoption.
Yeah, it's like they say, when one raise up, we all raise up, and that's the idea in the space for sure. We're still pretty small, actually, so like there's no need of having little battles. Personally, it really depends, but sometimes I'm like, oh, that must be a real OG. You're like, oh, maybe this person has a lot of money, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Yeah. No, I like that. I want to go back to that point that you made about scammers and PFPs, using different types of PFPs out there. We'll love your opinion and hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think it's a big danger, and you see it like when you receive DMs of penguins. Like I said, like if I see a penguin, I want to answer, I want to interact with the person, and scammers found out about this. So what's happening is you're getting DMs from, like now you have to check on chain if this NFT has been sold, or you have to make a, like almost you have to make an investigation, which kills half of the fun of this. And a lot of people are losing their NFTs. Like every week we have an example of someone who trusted the wrong account, and just the fact that it was a Penguin PFP helped the scammer, and that's really like a big problem in the space.
Yeah, I think with the Twitter verification actually leaving, just hurts a lot of people, which is tough.
You look at the feed of Pudgy Penguin, or Luca is posting something, and then there's a different Luca with two Zs or something, and you just don't notice. For 1 second you don't notice because you think it's him, but it's not him. It's somebody else that verified their account, and then you're scammed. So you have to be careful out there.
Yeah, and that doesn't help either, like onboarding more people, because it's like it's dangerous out there. Like you have to be careful, and like when you're onboarding people, there's already so many things. Like it's like such a big space with a lot of notions, new words. Like it's a whole new universe, and then on top of that, you have to be like, you have to be extremely careful. Like every link you click, like triple check everything, etc. So yeah, it's a shame.
So everyone just be careful out there, for sure. I want to go back to your point actually about like inclusion in the space in general, different PFP collections. Obviously, World of Women's collection, I think that's fantastic. What are your thoughts on other collections that don't have that representation, whether it's skin color, hair type, the list goes on, right? We'll love your thoughts there.
I think it depends, you know. I think some collections are just like for troll or things like that, for the vibe, for the fun, and that's just another perspective. Overall, like, yeah, there are some collections where it feels like it's a little more difficult because it's more abstract, let's say, but I think it is still important to have like some representation so that people can feel like they can buy in a collection, that they feel like it's also for them. And for example, WoW was really like built on that. Our artist Yam Karkai, when she started the collection, it was because she wanted to buy in a collection, and she felt like it was like none of them was really like speaking to her, and yet this is how she got the idea for World of Women.
Yeah, I mean, she has an incredible story, and it's great how she didn't see something that was there for people, and she created it herself.
Yeah.
I think that's what's really powerful in this space, is like anyone can go out there and just create their own thing, and the right people will come into those circles.
And I think there was like, people wanted that because the collection sold overnight.
Yeah, incredible. Fifi, Nir?
Yeah, I would say the beauty of Pudgy Penguins is there was no research of inclusivity, and at the end of the day, it's the most inclusive IP and characters that you have, and that's how we get to have so many women in our communities, because they feel like they can just be a penguin like anyone else. They don't have to even think about like, oh, is this collection going to be inclusive, or are the people going to be inclusive? Because the pictures itself, the art is just inclusive by definition. And even some, like in my example, some people thought I was a woman for a while because of the pink sweatshirt, and it's so cool that it can happen, you know, like, and no, I'm a man, like, that's like the best part of it, and I think that's the magic. Like we don't have to look for it, we don't have to, you know, have a list of values of inclusivity to convince people that we are an inclusive community. It's just built in.
Nice. And you know, you come across the people in these IRL environments, right? So I think like the more that people can get out and actually make these connections IRL, it really makes that connection with the person, with the PFP, with the community. Nir, thoughts there? Or?
I just encourage all the people here and the people outside to go to these events. It's so important to meet IRL, with all the respect to the PFPs, to go beyond the PFPs, to spend a conversation. As I said at the beginning, when all this NFT exploded, it was too much hype, and people were going to Art Basel for, as I said to you, like 5 different events on the same night. I mean, more than 5, but and then they have the fear of missing out. They have to jump between this party to this party, and they don't enjoy a conversation. They don't enjoy a panel. They don't relax, and they don't make even a smart decision because they try to win everything and they win nothing. They don't win relationships. So the smart people are the ones that are going to go and speak to an artist today or to a person that they respect or holder. It doesn't matter all these titles. A smart person will take the time to get to know the other person.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I'm definitely guilty of the first NFT NYC back in 2021, going crazy, running on 3 hours of sleep. Like it's a lot, and it's important to slow down and have those meaningful conversations, especially with the artists that are creating all this incredible work. I guess one question I don't think it gets talked about enough are like, and I know all the creators that create these larger PFP collections are artists, but let's say like a Sam Spratt or a Brian Brinkman and like his Art Blocks PFP collections. I don't know if those get spoken about enough. Would love to hear if you guys are into that. The smaller, let's say 100 to 400 art PFP collections.
You can go ahead.
I think it's just because that the space is getting, let's say, smaller, actually, that people already have a PFP, that this kind of experiment can look like a failure or like not taking off. Because as a topic we discussed, you're not going to make me change my PFP. You can make the best art piece, PFP, whatever. It's not going to work on me. And it's only when the space is going to really grow that people will want a NFT PFP, that they will really get the judgment, like the market will do them justice.
We can let's see, with the doodles how our PFPs are coming to life in movies, right? In games in the future, how we're going to recognize ourselves in some story, from them. That's exciting. And also, there's the next generation of artists that we need to look up to them. I mean, they should be welcomed, and they have a lot to offer as well to compete with the OGs.
Yeah, and it's like, if you guys know Gabe Weiss, fantastic artist in the space. He's over here doing live, painting and creating all these different type of abstract PFP collections, right? But you wouldn't classify it as like a Pudgy Penguin, World of Women, Doodles type of collection, but it's his own style, and that's what he cares about, just creating art for the sake of it, right? And it's a different type of corner of the PFP world, I would say. Adelina, if you have anything to add?
Not necessarily. I'm more like acquainted to, I think, some bigger collections, but I've bought into others, but not like 500 or less. Some random stuff sometimes just because I like the style of something or just the art, like I like something and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy in, and I don't necessarily like, it's not always like for the community, or of course it's important, but sometimes it's just the art actually.
So on that last note, I think we have a couple minutes left. What have you guys collected recently in the PFP world? What are you guys eyeing? There's a lot of noise out there. So I wouldn't put it past you if you guys are kind of stepping back. But if
I can tell you what I'm buying currently. I'm buying a lot of things, but I'm actually buying for a lot of people that they don't have the resources sometimes to buy. Whether if it's fashion or merch from brands, today Artifact, they're dropping some toys. I did buy the Pudgy toys. So I was never interested in these things. I thought toys, it's not for me, but actually collectibles is for me. I learned about it and I started collecting, and it can be nice at your office. It can be nice to give to somebody as a welcome gift to a new community. So yeah, I started collecting these collectibles from these brands and others. And I love, as you said, I love the art. There's so many. I wasn't so into art before. Now I'm so curious about art, and I meet these artists here. DK, I met him. Amazing. Wow. And there's so many others. So yeah, look what the NFT space did for us. Like, they gave us a gift for life.
That's a great point. And it's like, a funny story about DK is I was standing next to him about to board our flight to JFK, and he was I didn't know what he looked like. And then I saw him at the event yesterday, introduced myself, and I'm like, oh, wait, you're DK? We were literally standing like this. If only he was wearing his PFP on his hat or something over here, right? I just noticed him from his red glasses, if you guys see him around. Adelina?
I haven't bought much lately, I must admit, but I am considering getting a little pudgy.
Love it. What do you say about that?
I'm just gonna say, I'm like you guys. I want to buy more little pudgies, so that's on my buying list. And yeah, pudgy rocks as well.
You guys can help me choose the perfect little pudgy for me.
I want to just do one last question. Advice, I think, is really great in this space when you have great people who have been here for a while. Of course, there's people that are joining just now. If you can leave like one piece of advice when someone's looking to enter a community, a new space, there's people that we meet and they're like, I've never been to an IRL event. What's your first piece of advice that you would give to that person? Adelina, would you like to start?
I think don't hesitate to just ask people stuff because they will be very happy to help you out. That's something we've seen a lot at WoW, like on the Discord or Twitter or anything. Like when people ask, there's a lot of people who want to help. But at the same time, I just want to quote this with stay safe and be careful who you interact with because there's been like terrible stories in the space, so we don't want that to happen again.
Yes, check references. I think that's important when you're connecting with people, especially for the first time. But I love that point of just asking questions, walking up to someone, especially in an environment like this. Everyone wants to talk. That's a huge thing, and they'll be more than happy to do that.
One piece of advice I said before, build relationships. That's all.
I guess my advice is jump in, like make the first step. And as Adelina said, everyone is like easily reachable. It's one of the best things of the space. CEOs and like everyone will just answer you really fast. It doesn't happen anywhere else. So just go to events. Doesn't have to be the biggest event. It can be a local meetup and just build relationships step by step. And you will see everything will work out.
Shoot your shot, right? It never hurts to shoot a DM to someone you want to talk to. More often than not, they'll reply. If you have to try twice, 3 times, go for it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Adelina, Nir.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Fifi. This has been great. Great conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.